Hey everyone, I'm Charla. Welcome back to Brownlow Books. I have put off for as long as I can talking about Station 11. I like this book because I don't like this book. I definitely have some pandemic-related trauma. Some anxiety that remains, because, but, I'm gonna try to make it through this video without crying, and I don't know how well it's gonna go, so we're just gonna put that out there. And if the guy who hit on me in the last video that I was crying in is here, fucking hold it, alright? Alright. So, Station 11, Emily St. John Mandel. I don't even know, okay, I don't want to talk about this book, but I have so much to say about this book. Shirley, you've gone insane. Yes, I'm aware. I was trying to keep a reading vlog during this because I had a really visceral reaction in the first couple of chapters, and I straight up had an anxiety attack on camera, like twice in the attempted reading vlog. So it's a lot of rambling and babbling, and I'm just not gonna ever show you that. So, God, I don't even know how to set this up, okay? I'm sure most people have heard of Station 11. If you haven't, a flu happens and kills most of humanity. So, the book actually, it centers around Arthur in that it doesn't center around Arthur. Arthur is a famous actor. He dies the night, like, first couple of pages, he's dead, okay? So I'm not, you know what? Blanket spoiler warning on this entire book in this entire video, okay? Put that out there. Because I can't not talk about some of the things that happen in this book. Okay, so Arthur dies super early in the book. It's kind of the pinpoint of, like, before pandemic and after pandemic, because, like, that same day the world basically starts to collapse. Fun, right? It's a reason I did not read this book, and this book probably read way differently before 2020. Alright? So, the book focuses on Arthur and not Arthur, in that it focuses on all the people around Arthur that have known him throughout his life. So we see them before, during, and after pandemic. So, Arthur dies on stage performing King Lear, as the world is about to go to shit. So that's the subtle setup. Before, during, after pandemic. Okay. For me, this was, billed as being suspenseful, but, like, I did not feel any kind of suspense. It felt a little flat for me in that way. But, like, it's called beautiful and unsettling and haunting, and I'm like, yes, okay, I will give it that. So, we predominantly follow the people from Arthur's life that we know, Javin and Kirsten. We'll go with Kirsten. Kirsten being a child that's on stage with him during King Lear, who we then see predominantly post-pandemic. And so, like, at the time we're getting the post-pandemic part, it's been like 20 years. Man, Emily got high hopes for humanity. Okay. So, she travels in this, post-apocalyptic world that's kind of settled down a little bit now, with, like, a traveling symphony, acting troupe kind of thing. And their whole thing is that survival is insufficient. You know, from Star Trek Voyager. That's their whole thing. They want to bring arts and music and whatever. And so they travel around to like all the settlements everywhere, performing, you know, Shakespeare and symphonies and whatever kind of stuff, right? So we follow her predominantly. In the previous pre-pandemic, we're following, you know, mostly Arthur and the people around Arthur, right? So she's kind of right there at the end of his life. And I think that's why she gets more into the post-pandemic part. This is going to be a rambling video. I've just realized that right now because yeah, it's fine. Hang in there. So yeah, in the spirit of the survival is insufficient bit, it's kind of nice to see how each character has their own sort of version of that. Like hers is the arts and music thing, but like one of Arthur's friends from like his youth, not like when he was just starting as an actor, like he keeps a museum of civilization where he puts like all the old tech and like interesting things that he finds in an airport from later, you know, after the pandemic. And it's interesting to see in the book what survival is insufficient kind of relates to each other, because it's like only the troupe uses that quote, but like they run into people who are like trying to create newspapers and magazines, or like this guy who's trying to like fix up an old computer and make electricity so that he can like see if anyone's out there on the internet still. Like, did this only happen to us? Did like everyone has their own little thing that like is beyond the realm of survival, which I really enjoyed. However, during our pandemic, I really hated that everyone was like, oh, you have all this time off, you should be like writing your own King Lear, which is really interesting that this is King Lear. Survival is entirely sufficient. I kept saying that the entire fucking pandemic. Like, you don't need to come out with a new hobby, a new hustle, a new business. You don't need to do that. Like, keep yourself alive. Good job. That was it. So, very frustrating in the early days of our pandemic, pretty much the entirety of our pandemic, of people saying shit like that. I was just like, no, survival is sufficient. You've kept yourself alive. Good job. Yeah. So, I mean, this being 20 years post-pandemic, I'm a little more lenient to the, yes, survival is insufficient. But it was interesting to see all these people they passed who had all these different versions of that. Which leads me into the prophet. Right, there's a prophet. I like how he kind of plays against that survival is insufficient a little bit. By, you know, they have all their arts and their culture and, like, interconnection. And the prophet is very, like, othering. He's just kind of like, this is fine, you want to perform a play here tonight, but you better leave right afterwards. Like, the way that he's introduced, just like very harsh, very anti, like this, it's like we're keeping to ourselves, very insular. I really enjoyed that kind of like play against a found family and like creating something of value against the insular religion. It's really interesting. The prophet is someone we know that we don't know we know. So I did really like how that was kind of like little bits were slowly like revealed, and you're kind of like, yeah, okay, that's really interesting to me. I'm not gonna spoil that part for you. I really think it's the little like breadcrumbs left throughout the book to be like, wait a minute. I thought that was really good. See, that's what I said. I did not like this book. It made me like fucking anxious as hell, but I liked the book. It was laid out really well. It was good. I don't know, like, as I said, we see Arthur pre-pandemic. So we're kind of like following his life as he becomes a famous actor. But like towards the very end of the book, as we're leading up to like his dying day and like how he's feeling in that, because he doesn't know he's gonna die, right? And so like the feelings he has leading up to it, like he's just like, I'm just gonna like give away all my money, I'm gonna like sell all my stuff, I want to be he has 3 ex-wives, one of them has a child by him. He's like, I just want to move to Israel where my ex-wife and my child are and just spend time with my child. Like, that's all he wanted. And then he dies on stage during King Lear. And I was just like, because like the way he's set up through the book, you're just like, Arthur's a dick. You're like, he's... But Arthur's first wife, Miranda, is someone who grew up in the same small town as him. He marries them out of like convenience, basically, and then they get divorced, blah, 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 whatever. But she is the illustrator, author, creator of a comic book called Station 11. So, what I also thought about that, back to the survival is insufficient, I loved Miranda so much. And I was just like, she's not going to survive, is she? And she doesn't. And her death is just like, it's the number one most haunting part of this for me. Where I was just like, okay. Yeah, so her comic book, Station 11, is what the book is named after. You know, there's only so many copies of it out there, but, like, Kirsten has one. And so the way that, like, survival is insufficient, but, like, Miranda dies and her comic book keeps going. Like, 20 years later, this kid still got this copy of this comic book. I felt that was a nice thing, too. The way that that played into it, of, like, yeah, survival is insufficient, but, like, hers was a pre-pandemic, like, a place where she escaped to, creating it. You know, she could get her mind off of shit, and then it outlives her. I was just like, okay, yeah. She needed... I didn't want her to die. She needed to die. So yeah. The hardest parts for me are definitely the part where the pandemic is happening. We mostly follow Javin for that, who is in Toronto. This whole thing starts in the motherfucking Elgin Theatre. I've been there many times. So, like, people reading this book are probably just thinking about, like, a theater. I have these specific things that are in the Elgin Theatre. It's just, like, very vivid in my mind, and I did not like it at all. So, yeah, starting in Toronto, not great for me. I understand. But, like, yeah. I was like, I cannot handle this. And, like, Javine has a brother who's in a wheelchair and, like, a friend who's a doctor in one of the hospitals, and he's like, yo, I'm not playing games here. Like, you know I would never try to worry you if this wasn't serious. And so, like, he stalks up and takes up to his brother's apartment and seals off the apartment. And they're there for a while. Shorter than the amount of Toronto's first lockdown, but also not able to go out and do literally anything. Like, you're stuck there. What you have is what you have. Terribly fucking sad. Probably the second most haunting part for me. As I told my husband several times when I was reading this book, I was like, I don't want to survive the apocalypse. Do not want. Oh, look, I'm crying. Cool. So yeah, like, when it says right, a beautiful and unsettling book is definitely memorable and haunting, but, like, the way they played it as it was like a suspense, I'm like, no, that's not what this book is. It is, gosh, I don't even know sometimes what I've been talking for. I've been talking for nearly 14 minutes, and I'm still kind of like, how do I sum up this book? Obviously I don't. But yeah, it was just, the way it was all woven together was absolutely wonderful. Like, I know a lot of people don't like multi-POV books. I like them well enough, if they're done well. And this is done well. Gosh. But yeah, seriously, I think this book would have read way different before 2020. I wish. But I literally bought it the week that Ontario went into lockdown. Like, literally days. Literally days. I had to put down my cat. And she was sick for a while. She was nearly 19 years old. My friend was like, you need to get out of the house. I'm going to take you shopping. We're going to go out. It's going to be fine. And so, like, we went out. We hit up, like, a kitchen supply store. That's me. And, went generally shopping and, like, went to a used bookstore. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy myself a book. I bought 3. 4? I bought 4. And so, this was one of them, and poor choice! Poor fucking choice, right? Yeah. This, how many times am I gonna say this is a good book that I absolutely hate? I don't even know if I've covered everything I want to cover. I think I have. Should you read it? If you do not have pandemic-related traumas, go for it. I like that it's, like, classified as a sci-fi, but, like, it's the sci-fi I can handle. You know? You know I'm not big on sci-fi. But yeah, just, God, the way it's woven together is what I truly like about this book. Like, when I said I like it because I didn't like it, I did not like the Georgia flu. But, like, the way it all weaves together is such a beautiful tapestry of life and humanity, and I was just like, yeah. But you can see I've even got my tabbies. How often do I tab a book? My tabbies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tabbies. It's pretty good. Yeah, so if you do not have pandemic-related trauma, absolutely read the book. If you're into post-apocalyptic things and they're not into, like, God, I don't even know, like the warrior survival things. Like, oh my God, that's what this reminds me of the early days of our pandemic, where all the dudes were like, I'm stocked up on guns and ammo, and I got food, and I'll protect my family, and I'll kill anyone who tries to hurt us. But then, like, the actual way to get through our pandemic was, like, through love and caring about other people. That's kind of what it reminded me of a little bit. I was just like, yes, like, these people are creating communities, they're coming together, they're like, I'm gonna do this, you know how to do this? Great. Let's work this out. And then, like, yeah. It reminded me a lot of that. And I think that's why I liked it. Because you can't just fucking shoot your way through a pandemic. Unless you're the prophet. The subversion of religion in this book was delightful to me as well. But we're gonna leave that one alone. So yeah. Good God, it's nearly 20 minutes long. I liked it because I did not like it, which means I liked it. I'm not going to talk about it in relation to Canada Reads. That will be a separate video. Alright? So thanks for hanging out, and I will see you around next time.